My husband's secretary is divorced, has a child, and is homeless. He secretly brought her to live in our home without telling me. She lives in my house, sleeps in my bed, and treats me like a maid when I return from a tiring business trip. She smashed my antique blue and white stem cup right in front of me. I demanded compensation, and she arrogantly threw $500 at me. This cheap fake, $500 could get you 100 of these. I laughed in disbelief. I turned around and had the top-tier law firm I built from the ground up send her a legal notice. Seeing the astronomical compensation amount on it, her eyes went dark, and she collapsed to the ground. Just got off the plane from a business trip. I rushed home covered in dust, only to find a strange woman sitting on the living room sofa. In front of her were both a fill light and a phone stand, with comments scrolling rapidly on the phone screen. Is she live streaming? Juchi and I have no children after marriage, and our parents don't live with us. It could only be the person he brought back. I called Juchi with a dark expression. Hearing that I had returned early, Juchi was stunned for a moment and stammered an explanation. It turned out that his secretary, Chen Nan, had just gotten divorced, had nowhere to go, and was still looking for a place to rent. It just so happened that I wasn't home these past few days, so he stayed at the company. Tidied up the guest room, and let her stay for a couple of days to get by. Honey, look, I already promised to help her. It wouldn't be right to kick her out now. You brought a strange woman home without asking. If something in the house goes missing, who's going to be responsible? Don't worry. Secretary Chen isn't that kind of person. She's only staying for a couple of days. Don't be so stingy. I couldn't be bothered to listen to his nonsense anymore, so I hung up the phone. Looking up, I saw that woman taking the one-of-a-kind jewelry my grandmother personally designed for me out of the box beside her and putting it on, showing it off in front of her phone. Furious, I took a photo and sent it over, demanding, Juchi, I suggest you warn your secretary not to mess with my things. Honey, I've been really busy these past few days, constantly in meetings. It's just a few pieces of cheap jewelry, isn't it? We're all women, and Secretary Chen has it so hard. Can't you be a little more considerate of her? Cheap jewelry. Hearing Juchi's words, I laughed in anger. He must be blind as a bat. I originally planned to go home to drop off my luggage, then head to the old house to chat with my parents. It seems I can't leave now. But after all, the other person is Juchi's acquaintance. Out of kindness, I decided to stay and take care of the other person for 2 days. But as I was passing by the nanny's room on my way back to the bedroom, Chen Nan stopped me with a selfie stick. She looked me up and down and sneered, You must be Auntie Lee, the nanny, right? Finally back. Go to the wine cabinet in the kitchen and bring a few bottles of the most expensive red wine. After saying that, she didn't forget to show off to the live stream audience and explain, Yes, I usually prefer to fall asleep in a slightly tipsy state. I was completely baffled by her self-absorbed rambling and hadn't even had a chance to speak before she impatiently started chattering again. What are you staring at? The house is a mess. Go clean it up. With that, she walked off on her own. I was utterly confused. Didn't Juchi say she was only staying for a couple of days? Why does it sound like she's already treating this place as her own home? I'm really curious about what kind of background this female secretary has that makes my husband so fond of her, to the point of bringing her home. I didn't confront her directly but instead called my assistant to investigate first. But it's disappointing. It's still that old cliché story of childhood sweethearts. They met in elementary school and started their relationship after their first intimate experience in middle school. It wasn't until the Ju family disapproved of Chen Nan's character and sent Juchi abroad to study. Over the years, the two have kept in touch secretly, never completely cutting ties. But after returning to the country, Chen Nan had already married someone else, and everything had changed. Juchi was disheartened and, following his family's arrangements, married into my family. He even resigned the secretary I had hired for him at a high price, who had a Ph.D. in business administration from a prestigious university, and hired his own white moonlight with the same salary. Not only that, but Chen Nan also frequently engaged in school bullying during high school. However, because she has strong backing, the matter always ends up being dropped. I let out a cold laugh. In Jiang City, whose backing could be stronger than our Shen families, and I am the sole heir of the Shen family. Back then, it was Ju Qi who pursued me relentlessly. And I was moved by his devotion, which is why I agreed to let him marry into my family. I was just about to confront Chen Nan and reveal my identity, but the scene before me made my eyes burn with fury. The display cabinet in the living room was wide open, and she was fiddling with a blue and white stem cup. That blue and white stem cup was something I had painstakingly acquired at a high price from a collector last month. I had planned to give it to my dad as a birthday gift to make the old man happy. Dad has one, and this one ended up overseas. After many twists and turns, I finally managed to get the pair. I grew anxious and spoke a bit harshly. "This isn't your home, don't touch things without permission." She laughed heartily, glancing at me sideways. "It's just a broken cup. Don't think that just because you're the Ju family's nanny, you can yell at me like that. Don't look down on people. Once I become the lady of this house, I'll fire you immediately. I could tell from the way you were sneaking around earlier that you're not a good person." The live stream was still going on, and unaware netizens who saw this scene exploded in the comments. "Nan Nan is so domineering. After working as a nanny in a wealthy family for so long, do you really think you're one of them?" The streamer's comeback was so satisfying, it's like a novel's heroine coming to life. I was so angry that I laughed. "And what kind of good person are you? Only someone as shameless as you would dare to move into a married man's home." Chen Nan snapped angrily. "Shut up." Cornered by the truth I had exposed, she pointed at me furiously and yelled, "You just wait until Ju Qi gets home. I'll make you regret it. You're just a nanny. Do you really think you're somebody? You shameless bitch. It's just a cup. Once I become the mistress of the Ju family, everything in this house will be mine." I picked up my phone again, captured her ugly face on camera, and sent it to Ju Qi. "I sent the video to your future husband, the divorced old man Ju Qi. I advise you to put the cup down immediately. If it breaks, you can't afford to pay for it. Bitch, I want to see how serious it is to break a lousy cup." Saying this, she picked up the porcelain cup on the cabinet in a fit of pique and angrily threw it to the ground. I didn't expect her to smash the porcelain cup in a rage and just raised my hand to catch it, but the other party moved too fast, and I could only watch helplessly as the porcelain cup shattered into pieces on the ground. A piece flew over and cut the back of my hand. "Good, very good. So that's how you want to play, huh? If I don't make her lose everything she owns, I won't be surnamed Shen." Chen Nan looked at my injured hand, her expression growing even more smug. "What's wrong with me moving into a married man's house? I'm Ju Qi's first love, and he doesn't even love his wife. The one who isn't loved is the third wheel." Ju Qi said that once his company stabilizes, he'll marry me. "Once I'm in power and become Mrs. Ju, I'll make sure your whole family can't survive in Jiangcheng." I held the broken porcelain shards and looked at her. "Chen Nan, pay up." Chen Nan suddenly understood. "So you're trying to extort money? This is the Ju family's property, so it's not your place as a nanny to demand compensation, is it?" I glared at her and repeated coldly, "Pay up." She counted out 5 red bills from the fake bag on the sofa. "Consider it a reward from me. Take your money and get out of here." She threw 5 bills in front of me. I let them scatter and fall to the ground. 500, that's like giving pocket change to a beggar. That single blue and white stem cup has already sold for over 50 million at auction. If it were to be paired with the one my father has, its value would be immeasurable. I won't even charge you a premium. The base price for a single blue and white stem cup is 50 million. 50 million. Her expression was one of surprise, and then she laughed. "If you had named a smaller amount, maybe I would have taken pity on you and given it to you. Wait until I tell Ju Qi about this. The only one who'll end up losing more than they gain is you." Chen Nan shook the voice recorder in his hand, his smile growing even more smug. "Have you heard of the Ju family's private law firm? It's very impressive." "So what?" The Ju family's private law firm is a branch of the Shen family's investment in a prestigious law firm and is also part of the Shen family. "Once I tell Ju Qi about your actions, the Ju family's lawyers will sue you in court. You'll regret it then." "Alright, I'll be waiting for the good news." Since she chose to bring this upon herself, I won't stand in her way anymore. I had my assistant pull up the home surveillance footage and send me a copy. As I passed by the guest bedroom, I could still hear Chen Nan inside, crying pitifully and whining to Ju Qi with her manipulative, tearful words. I instructed my assistant to submit all the evidence to the prestigious law firm backed by the Shen family. This top-tier firm, known for handling multi-billion-dollar IPO projects on a daily basis, is truly wasting its resources on such a trivial matter, given their level of expertise. Chen Nan is not only Ju Qi's secretary but also a fashion blogger with tens of thousands of followers. At that time, she was taking selfies in my walk-in closet, wearing my jewelry and flaunting her wealth to her followers. Just moments before, a video of Ju Qi attending a business event had appeared on Weibo. Shortly after, in her closet selfie, she was seen wearing a tie identical to Ju Qi's. Fans immediately jumped in, digging deep into the relationship between the two, speculating that the person Ju Qi secretly married was Chen Nan. However, at this moment, three-time Golden Award-winning actress Song Mingyu used her verified Weibo account to repost her post and commented, "Do you enjoy seducing married men so much? Are you that desperate for love, little sister?" This is Song Mingyu, an actress who hasn't posted on Weibo in ages. Song Mingyu rarely posts on Weibo, not even bothering to share promotional content. Who would have thought that when she finally did post, it would be something so significant? Weibo instantly crashed. Some bloggers immediately speculated that Song Mingyu, unable to win Ju Qi's affection, was so frustrated that she used her official account to publicly confront him. They meticulously analyzed the situation and even dug up photos of Song Mingyu and Ju Qi attending the same events. In the photo, the two of them gaze at each other with deep affection, their eyes seemingly able to pull threads of emotion. These marketing accounts will go to any lengths to slander others just for the sake of popularity. I could tell at a glance that there was something wrong with these photos. Are you kidding me? They actually photoshopped me out from between the two of them. Who is Song Mingyu? She's the best friend I grew up with, sharing everything from clothes to secrets. Ju Qi called, and as soon as I answered, he started questioning me aggressively. "Shen Weiwei, why did you bully Secretary Chen? Secretary Chen is just going through a tough time. She's been helping me for so long. What's wrong with me supporting her a bit? Tell Song Mingyu to delete that Weibo post right now." I didn't want to waste any more words and told him to let Chen Nan take the call. The person on the other end of the line changed, and I heard Chen Nan, her voice strained, completely different from her earlier arrogance, timidly say, "I'm sorry, sister. I've been having some difficulties lately and have been staying at your place temporarily. Don't blame Mr. Ju for getting angry just now. As soon as your nanny came back yesterday, she started humiliating me in every way possible. I really felt wronged. I'll pack my things and move out tomorrow. I'm truly grateful for Mr. Ju's care during this time." Chen Nan was still speaking in a pitiful tone. Hearing that she was about to leave, Ju Qi raised his voice and shouted, "What did you do wrong? Just stay here and don't worry." I rolled my eyes and mercilessly exposed her. "Leaving already? Weren't you going to be the future lady of the Ju family? Don't be in such a hurry to run away. Maybe you should think about where to get the money to compensate me for my 50 million yuan antique cup first. Oh, I almost forgot, given that the headquarters of Ju's law firm is so impressive. I had them reappraise it and increased the compensation amount to 150 million yuan. I had just finished speaking when I heard chaos on the other end of the phone. Nan, what's wrong with you? Quick, take him to the hospital." Chen Nan had fainted from my scare. Ju Qi, in front of everyone, carried the person into the car and personally took them to the hospital. Ju Qi questioned me about what exactly I had said to upset her. I flipped through the information about Chen Nan that my assistant had brought and calmly said, "The jewelry she was wearing in the photos she posted on Weibo, does it look familiar to you? Should I give you a list of the items that have gone missing from our home in the past couple of days? It's just some cheap jewelry. We have plenty at home. Is it really necessary to be so nitpicky? At worst, I'll compensate for her. Cheap jewelry, that was my dowry," I sneered. "Not to mention the value of the missing jewelry from the house, she still owes me 150 million right now." 150 million? Shen Weiwei, Are you just holding a grudge against Nan Nan? Did Aunt Lee say something bad about her? I'll fire Aunt Lee right away. He's not even pretending anymore. After Ju Qi married into the Shun family, the Ju family has been well taken care of by our family. It seems he has forgotten who it was that saved the Ju family from dire straits. Now that they're living a good life, they dare to bring all sorts of shady people into the house. I even made sure to mail the lawyer's letter to Chen Nan's hospital room. I heard she was so scared by the lawyer's letter that she burst into tears on the spot. She opened the bill I attached, and the amount, close to 300 million, made her dizzy. I sent the surveillance footage from my home to Ju Qi. Only then did Ju Qi realize that Chen Nan had stolen the jewelry from my room. Not only that, she also broke the antique cup I bought at a high price a while ago. Ju Qi called again, and this time his tone was clearly less assertive than before. He was still trying to make excuses for Chen Nan. Honey, you know that Secretary Chen is also a fashion blogger. She borrowed some of your jewelry out of work necessity. Forget about that cup. It's not like Dad is set on that particular one. I'll go to my friend's place in a couple of days and find a prettier pair. I'm sure Dad will love them. If you're not angry anymore, I'll come home to spend time with you today. Didn't you say before that I was too busy with work to keep you company? I rolled my eyes. Who even wants you around? Ju Qi fell silent for a moment before saying, Shun Weiwei, I know you're jealous right now. Secretary Chen and I have worked together for 3 years, and her leaving has a big impact on my work, seeing that I was unmoved by both soft and hard tactics. He flew into a rage and snapped, You're being completely unreasonable. He then blocked me. I ignored him and, taking advantage of their absence, changed the code to the smart lock at home to prevent him from returning. I also revoked his supplementary card and cut off all cooperation with his small company. Aren't you worried that she has nowhere to stay? Then go sleep on the streets and drink the northwest wind with your white moonlight. A few days later, Chen Nan posted a photo on her Weibo of her and Ju Qi holding hands. Caption, Finally found you. Then, the internet was flooded with news about a fashion beauty blogger and the CEO of a listed company rekindling their romance. Alright, now, Ju Qi has managed to piss off my entire family. After so many years of marriage, I know Ju Qi all too well. He couldn't possibly tell Chen Nan that the big villa and luxury car at home were all bought with the support of our family. Even that small, struggling company of his was on the verge of collapse back then. Seeing how much he liked it, I invested a few $100 million to help him stabilize his position as the CEO. Although Ju Qi seemed completely unfazed by the idea of marrying into the family, it has always been a thorn in his side. Chen Nan continues to post on Weibo, sharing their intimate photos. She was wearing a Chanel miniskirt, laughing charmingly. The perspective seems to be a candid shot, with Ju Qi staring straight at her, completely unaware of the camera's presence. The caption reads, Why do latecomers take the lead? Because the former doesn't fight or grab. Her fans all replied below, saying it's so sweet, and they're totally shipping it. The most liked comment is, This is the lethality of the white moonlight. Her fans are still bragging about how she isn't afraid of authority and bravely pursues the person she likes. Taking back what belongs to her from someone else and reconciling with a former lover. I was scrolling through Weibo and almost died laughing. They really have a way with words, making being the other woman sound so refined and elegant. I wonder how long Ju Qi, who has always been extravagant, can keep up his high life without the support of our Shun family. Since they want to bravely pursue this love that the world condemns, then I'll let them have it. My parents also came back home and comforted me, telling me to calm down. I knew from the start he was no good. He looked shifty-eyed at first glance, and now he dares to cheat after marriage. Just wait, I'll teach him a lesson. What about the Ju family's investment? On my way back, I called Butler Zhong and had him withdraw all the funds. They've long disliked Ju Qi, that freeloader, if it weren't for my infatuation back then. When I insisted on getting married and they couldn't resist my tantrums, they would have kicked Ju Qi out of the Shun family long ago. My parents spread the word, urging the companies that had once supported the Ju family to terminate their cooperation with them. The Ju family's stocks plummeted, and shareholders rushed to sell their shares and flee. Even a deity couldn't save the Ju family's business now. The Jew family, aware of their son's actions, dared not utter a word after the incident. Ju Chi was also extremely stubborn, enduring immense pressure and debt from the company, yet he never called me once to beg for mercy. On the other hand, Chen Nan couldn't hold out any longer and asked me why I was targeting the two of them. I was speechless. Sis, don't you have any clue why the Ju family started thriving after Ju Chi married into our family? She took our conversation out of context and posted it online. She edited the content to make it seem like I, as the ex-wife, was targeting them out of jealousy for their current happy life. Her actions not only damaged my reputation but also nearly affected the promotion of Song Mingyu's new drama. Song Mingyu called, gritting her teeth and saying, "It's the first time I've seen someone who knowingly becomes the third party and still acts so self-righteous. It's truly shameless. I heard her mother was also a mistress. No. Is being a mistress hereditary in their family? Given your temper, you wouldn't just take it lying down. As it happens, as the future successor of the Shun Group, it's not very convenient for me to show my face just yet, so I handed all the evidence over to Song Mingyu." At the promotional event for Song Mingyu's new drama, as expected, a paparazzo couldn't resist asking her about the rumors of her meddling in Ju Chi and Chen Nan's relationship. "Song Mingyu, I heard that you stepped in and stole someone's love when Mr. Ju and Miss Chen were at the peak of their relationship. Is that true?" Song Mingyu smiled brightly. "You're quite the gossip." She then pulled out the unedited original photo that had been circulating on Weibo. Although I was pixelated in the middle, it's clear that Song Mingyu's gentle gaze was directed at me, and there was no such thing as secretly flirting with Ju Chi. Why did I curse someone on Weibo? That bitch seduced my best friend's husband, stayed at my best friend's house, stole her things, and even flaunted it on Weibo. She bared her white teeth and smiled sinisterly. If it weren't for my best friend stopping me, I would have already rushed over and torn her to pieces. Everyone was in an uproar. No one had expected such a dramatic twist in the situation. After the two of them left, I had a vague feeling that something was off. So I asked my assistant to investigate Chen Nan's marital status and found that she was still married. Moreover, her husband had accumulated a large gambling debt and had gone into hiding. Fearing that the creditors would come after her, Chen Nan sought help from Ju Chi, without a second thought. Ju Chi helped Chen Nan Huan repay a large debt. Little did she know that her husband owed far more than that. That's why she lied and claimed she had already divorced her husband, hinting both directly and indirectly that Ju Chi should let her move into my house. Perhaps at other residences, those creditors would still dare to show up. This is a high-end residential area, and the people living here are wealthy and influential. No matter how much they want money, they can't afford to offend the residents inside. Ju Chi is my best friend's husband. They got married a long time ago. During their marriage, Ju Chi fired the professional secretary my best friend had hired at great expense. Instead, he secretly kept a mistress at the company using my best friend's money, and when she wasn't home, he brought the mistress into their house to live. A young reporter, unwilling to accept this, retorted, "Back then, it was clearly Miss Chen who was with President Ju first. If your best friend hadn't intervened and snatched him away, they would have already reconciled long ago." Hearing her words, Song Mingyu bent down and looked at the work badge on her chest. "You're a friend of Chen Nan, right?" She smiled brightly, interfering. "My best friend is the heiress of the Shun Group. That little punk Ju Chi isn't even worthy of shining her shoes." What was supposed to be a movie promotion centered around Song Mingyu's brilliant acting skills ended up going viral in an utterly bizarre direction. Some people think Song Mingyu is kissing up to the powerful. Some believe she is just putting on a show. 1 week after my parents and I withdrew our investment, the Ju family's financial deficit had reached a point of no return. He sold off everything in his home, but it still wasn't enough to cover the huge financial gap left by our withdrawal. He went around asking people for investment. The Ju family was originally a business tycoon. Out of respect for our Shun family, they invested a bit of money in the Ju family, treating it as a gesture of goodwill between our families. Now that our Shun family has spoken, who would dare to continue investing in the Ju family? Ju Chi finally remembered that we weren't divorced yet and came to our ancestral home. kneeling and admitting he was wrong. But his little schemes are no match for my parents, those two old foxes. In just a few words, he was coaxed into revealing that Chen Nan had sent him to apologize. He thought that as a son-in-law, he had always been filial, and hoped that, out of past affection, my parents would help persuade me not to be angry. My parents were furious, but on the surface, they remained calm and composed. They said they could help him by giving Ju Qi a sum of money, enough to tide the company over during this period of financial strain, but they required him to sign a divorce agreement that would leave him with nothing. After he signed it, he finally made the first call to me in all these days. Shen Weiwei, you have such a cruel heart. Have you ever really loved me all these years? I chuckled lightly. Say one more word, and that money is gone too. The other person immediately fell silent. Of course, I wouldn't just give him money for nothing to ease his burden. His beloved Chen Nan is the real money guzzler. Song Mingyu took a deep breath and patted her chest. Thank goodness I didn't offend you back then. I only gave Ju Qi 10 million. 10 million will never be enough to fill the funding gap after the withdrawal. He asked me, what about the other 100 million? I said with a smile, aren't you helping Chen Nan pay off his debt? Consider this 100 million as compensation, and even that isn't enough. But before that 10 million could even warm up, Ju Qi was sued by me. It was all recovered on the grounds of misappropriating marital property. Ju Qi had previously sold off all his assets. So now they don't even have a place to live and have to accompany Chen Nan in hiding from creditors. To make matters worse, Chen Nan's husband, having heard that she had hooked up with a wealthy man, came banging on the door of their rented apartment in the middle of the night, demanding money to get rid of him. Ju Qi gave him 10,000 yuan. However, Ju Qi had always been extravagant and never considered 10,000 yuan to be a large sum before. After learning about this, Chen Nan cried and had a big argument with him. After that, creditors came to their door every day, causing trouble and shouting insults, while Chen Nan's husband would also show up frequently to demand money. Before, their affectionate photos would frequently make it to the trending searches. Now, there's completely no trace of them online. What happened? Are they not living happily with the unattainable love of their youth? Later, to celebrate Song Mingyue's box office earnings exceeding 100 million, I bought out all the bags in the entire mall for her. Just as I left the mall, I happened to run into Ju Qi, who looked pale and thin from hunger. Song Mingyu held my arm, her acting skills kicking in, her eyes filled with fear. Sister, have I been too much trouble for you lately? What if my brother-in-law misunderstands us? Upon hearing this, Ju Qi, with a pale face, walked past us quickly without saying a word. Watching Ju Qi walk away, Song Mingyu hugged her arms and laughed hysterically. Look at that fool, you used to be a hopeless romantic. Don't you feel sorry for him looking like that? Mentioning my past self gives me a headache. Stop talking, just mentioning him now brings me bad luck. Hey, did you know? Chen Nan seems to be pregnant again. How come you two never wanted children all these years, but as soon as he got together with Chen Nan, she got pregnant? I said gloomily, is it that we didn't want children? Song Mingyu, what do you mean? I sighed. Ju Qi, he's not capable in that aspect. Chen Nan's husband said that Ju Qi got his wife pregnant and has to compensate him. Ju Qi knew the child wasn't his, but he couldn't speak of his bitterness. Chen Nan was also unwilling to admit that he had cheated. When I received Ju Qi's call, I originally intended to hang up, but the other person kept calling one after another. And I was so annoyed that I still answered. Weiwei, come save me quickly, I'm about to be beaten to death. After finishing the statement, the sky was almost bright. Ju Qi sat on the chair, head lowered, his face swollen like a pig's head. Chen Nan beside him kept sobbing incessantly. Ju Qi finally got annoyed and yelled at her. What are you crying for? If you hadn't gone and seduced someone else's husband, would his wife have had people beat us up like this? Our company still has a lot of work to attend to. I've already done more than enough by coming here tonight, and I don't have time to stay and watch them perform this soap opera. As I turned to leave, Ju Qi grabbed my hand. He lowered his head and spoke slowly. Weiwei, I was wrong. I was really wrong. I shook off his hand and said coldly, Ju Qi, you chose this path yourself. Ju Qi and Chen Nan finally broke up. Ju Qi was beaten half to death by the elders of the Ju family and dragged to our doorstep to apologize. I couldn't stand it any longer and pleaded on his behalf a couple of times before the matter was finally dropped. However, it was already impossible for the Ju family to make a comeback. Ju Qi had to start over from the grassroots level. But the matter between him and Chen Nan was far from over. How much they loved each other then is how much they resent each other now. Ju Qi exposed the evidence of Chen Nan's affair, completely shattering her image as a pure and innocent girl. I even thoughtfully included the video of when she moved into my home, that arrogant, shameless face of hers, knowing she was the other woman yet acting righteous, quickly became a trending topic. This incident drew the attention of Chen's father's first wife. She posted a video, accusing Chen Nan of how he led others to bully her son back in school. Her son, who had always been an excellent student, nearly attempted suicide and eventually had to drop out of school before the situation barely came to an end. Yet, the real perpetrator, shielded by Ju Qi's protection, remained completely untouchable. During Chen Nan's time at school, she never gave up seeking justice for her son. Now the time has finally come. She released a flood of videos showing Chen Nan bullying former classmates, including not only her son but also some very beautiful girls. At an age when they should have been smiling, their bodies were covered with humiliating words. Chen Nan didn't feel she was in the wrong at all and retorted online, "If it weren't for him taking my father away, I wouldn't have been laughed at for not having a dad since I was a child. That bitch dressed so provocatively. It was obvious she was out to seduce someone. What's wrong with me teaching her a lesson? I'm Ju Qi's first love. If he hadn't gone abroad back then, I would have been Mrs. Ju long ago." At the moment of her complete madness, the police broke in and arrested her. Even Ju Qi, whose career had just started to take off, was dragged down by her. Chen Nan thought that having a child would allow her to avoid going to jail, but would the parents of the children she had harmed agree to that? One day, an unlicensed car emerged from the shadows and knocked her to the ground. It wasn't until the next morning that her body was discovered. Yet the time of death was in the early hours of today. Throughout the entire night, she was engulfed in immense pain and the fear of death. The murderer might be Ju Qi, it could also be her husband, it could be someone she hurt, it could be me, who knows?